When a horror franchise returns after decades, fans expect either a tired cash grab or a bold evolution. 28 years later, 2025 lands squarely in a latter category. It doesn't just revisit the rage virus, it reinvents the mythology, focusing on legacy, trauma, and what comes after the apocalypse. Set 28 years post-outbreak, Britain is split. Mainland quarantined, an island enclave exists where surviving families ritualize infected hunting as a rite of passage. We meet Jamie, Aaron Taylor Johnson, his wife Isla, Jodie Comer, and their son Spike, a 12-year-old boy born into fear, raised on stories of infection and loss. From the start, the film makes it clear, the virus isn't a sudden shock anymore. It's the foundation of culture for this generation. The rage virus returns, but it's not the same. We see mutated forms, alpha-infected, blind crawlers, and a chilling scene of a pregnant infected woman. The infection now symbolizes mutation within society, not just bodily horror. It's existential dread made flesh, and seeing how these creatures live and hunt speaks volumes about survival's darker forms. 28 years later is at its heart a family drama. Spike's introduction to death and grief is raw. He witnesses horrors firsthand. Isla, as a mother, battles illness while protecting her son. Her sacrifice is a linchpin of emotional weight. Jamie fights a brutal father's instinct, struggling to protect a world that's already lost so much. These characters are not just actors on a horror set, they are human beings whose bonds you feel. Danny Boyle's signature style returns in full, handheld chaos, long tense takes, interspersed with surreal, dreamlike imagery captured via iPhone and archival footage. Scenes like children watching Teletubbies, abruptly interrupted by infected parents, are as haunting as they are symbolic. This mix of cameras and styles creates an immersive duality. Cinema and documentary collide, and you feel the disaster's weight. The film tackles memory, radicalization, and inherited trauma. You can't help but see reflections of COVID, Brexit, and societal breakdown. The virus has become heritage, not just a disease, and watching these families pass down fear is a sobering experience. The soundtrack by Young Fathers and the stark color palette amplified this trauma, not just with fear, but with sorrow. But the film isn't perfect. In its middle act, the narrative feels fragmented, some threads are dropped, and then we arrive at the Jimmy cult, young survivors, militarized and theatrical. It's a shocking tonal shift. Brilliant to some, jarring to others. The effect is deliberate, but its execution walks a razor's edge between genius and disjointed. The conclusion is bold. Spike emerges with a newborn into the unknown only to meet this punkish youth cult led by Jimmy. It reframes the film from survival horror to social commentary, trauma worship, radicalization, and ruin. The door opens fully to the announced sequel 28 years later, The Bone Temple, 2026, and it promises even darker ground. 28 years later isn't merely a revival, it's a statement. Yes, it stumbles narratively. Yes, it risks alienation, but it feels alive. The emotional core connects, the horror feels evolved. The ending provokes thought, debate, maybe even discomfort, but that's its power. In an era where horror franchises churn generic sequels, this one thinks, feels, challenges. In short, this is the strongest entry since the original. It's less about jump scares and more about fear echoing through generations. Watch it for its ideas, its emotion, its audacity. Let me know in the comments. Did the cult twist resonate with you or cross the line? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Let's keep the conversation alive. 28 years later just dropped, and it's not the zombie movie you expect. The rage virus is back, the infected have mutated, but this time, it's not just about survival. It's about what comes after, when fear becomes tradition. We follow a boy named Spike, born into a world where killing infected is a rite of passage. But the real shock? That ending. He escapes, only to meet a cult led by a guy called Jimmy, dressed like a punk messiah with his own army. It's insane. Is it genius or just too weird? Either way, this isn't just horror. It's a look at how trauma reshapes society. 28 years later, the world isn't infected. It's transformed. And this story? It's just getting started.